My parents' dream was for me to work in a company, not a private one, but a state-owned. To have enough free time, social insurance, exact working hours, cheese from the syndicate, apartment after 40 years of work, loans every month, and a deep minus on my account, ready for my kids. They advised me to keep quiet and not talk too much. They were right. But now it's too late. I still have my freedom, creativity, making things differently, sleepless nights on my emails, typing new projects, bookings, and lots more. And okay, that is my reality. I'm afraid that when the moment arrives and the independent scene is alive again, it will be too weak and in need of time to be back in full strength. In the meantime, who is going to do the program, decide on selections, write projects? Who will fight for the best possible conditions? Unfortunately, only public institutions controlled by the government. How can we expect a Madonna show to be organized by the right wing?
The help of the public sector nowadays for every country is very crucial and is very important, because we are all taxpayers, and all these countries they do benefit from their festivals, from all of these events, be it small or big.
And it varies from country to country. That if the government is funding a program, and if they want to interfere with the program, so provide funds for a program doesn't necessarily mean that they need to interfere with what's happening on stage and what kind of program, aesthetically speaking, or genre-wise, style-wise speaking, what they are funding.
There is a slight difference in the French market, is that the funding doesn't go to only the public sector. On the contrary, so the state and the government gives funding to venues, to festivals.
That's what we are also afraid of, but I'm pretty sure that there are some big enterprises or promoters with more money than the others who can manage to do some things. And also there is always a space for the new people. And also, as we know, we will go with the small budget and we will move things. We already know how to deal without the budget.
I think there's been a transition, or a temporary transition, towards being funded companies, because most companies have needed some sort of financial support, whereas maybe they've never had to apply for that before. Like in the UK is a really good example. The government's given £1.57 billion to culture, and the companies that are applying for funding and getting funding are those that have never had to have any assistance before.
The private sector and let's say independent cultural actors are in a very, very worrying position right now. I'm not sure how many of bankruptcies have we or closed, like private companies closing down, have we seen yet, but it's getting there sooner or later.
The public sector cannot take over because they have no knowledge. But they will, let's say, because of finances, they will be the only one who will have the finances. They will decide whom they will support, you know. So if you will not be on the right side, you will get zero.
And that's the main issue. There will be some money. Of course, the big festivals like Exit will happen for sure. Even now they are negotiating whether they will get the money from the government for the loss they had this year. But I'm not afraid about the big festivals. Small festivals, we know already we will have to fight for every part of the cake.
So we are, as a public institution, and being supported and having still a privilege of having enough income from the public funds, from the municipality of Ljubljana. We are aware of the additional responsibility that this is also bringing to us. So we are looking into the ways how we could additionally, even more actively, help cultural associations who are also they're not really in a private world.
Now that we are working with a lot of people from the Balkans, we see that in the Balkans, many countries, publicly funded concerts, publicly funded free festivals are distorting the market. If a city or the government provides it for free, how can you ask money for the same thing?
The main problem is that this is general overview. The state is trying to have the public enterprise fully assured with full payments, and for the private enterprise, they don't care unless they are part of the ruling government mafia.
As a public institutions, our goal and our strategic is to support not only the local musicians but also the local organizers. In Poland, the situation is a bit, let's say, tricky because of the way our government works. I don't want to go into the details here because it might be a bit controversial, but our government right now is not putting more money into the culture. They're putting less money into the cultures, and they're trying to support this base and safe initiatives. So all the alternative music and all the rock musics, they're somehow on the second page for the needs, for the government needs.
Unfortunately, we are seeing a very hard period in Slovenia in terms of the national cultural policy, which is getting in a really frightening spheres. We're seeing basically demontage of a cultural NGO and media sphere by the actual government of pro-Orban and pro-Trump Janša right-wing government. And we are seeing really critical direct actions now in the time of the worst pandemic, lockdown and crisis. They are acting in this field, like actively demontaging what has been building up in the past 20-30 years, let's say, in the culture and media sector.
I don't believe that politics has a right to tell anyone what is worth when it's getting to culture or art. Neither money should tell what's worth. The people should tell.
Do I think that we're all going to turn into sort of publicly funded bodies? No. I mean, I think that you look at the industry is made up of risk-taking entrepreneurial creative promoters by trade, right? And these are people that will work on margins that no other industry would work on. The numbers seem completely crazy. The risks are ridiculous, but that's how it operates, and it always has operated. So I think that as soon as the conditions are right to be able to resume shows, and a lot of that revolves around having insurance in place and the venues being open and having the right guidance in place and risk mitigation measures for COVID to operate while there's still a threat of the virus. When all of those things are in place, I think there'll be a mass rush to get shows back up and running again. People want to go back to work.